Last time we spoke, I mentioned I was being retaliated against. And so this is part two. The retaliation came in multiple forms. So it'll be probably a 3 or 4 part story. The next step in the retaliation, after I sued the county that I live in, which is Johnson County, they took advantage of the opportunity to get me back and retaliated against me related to my children. Myself and my ex-husband had a controversy. We were already divorced and had been for 6 years, and I wanted a private Christian school for my children, and my ex would not consent, so we took it to the court, asking for the court to intervene as a constitutional right to have a private Christian education for my 3 children, my 3 minor children, who were 14 and 9 and 7 at the time. I had 2 boys and a girl. Well, the court recognized me by my name. I have an unusual last name. And they realized, oh, this is the girl who's suing us for the civil rights suit because, we medically neglected her father who died in our jail. So here's our opportunity to come back and get her. So the retaliation reared its ugly head in many forms. In this particular case, when we appealed to the court to intervene, and the controversy was about private Christian education, what happened was the court immediately, the first hearing that we had, the court appointed an amicus ad litem who had a pre-planned agenda, and the agenda was to put the children with the father no matter what, because as soon as that happens, the state actually takes custody of your children, and that's exactly what they did. It's called state custody kinship care. So you take away from the primary parent that has legal custody per the divorce decree, which came from contract law, and puts it with the other parent, and it doesn't matter what gender it is. They'll rearrange the kids no matter what. So that's exactly what they did. And there was me objecting. I was speaking on my own behalf in the hearing, and I said, Judge, my ex-husband uses marijuana. He uses illegal drugs. You cannot do this. My children will be in danger. He did it anyway. He immediately removed the kids. After the amicus ad litem was appointed, he immediately removed the kids without ever proving parental unfitness. He was told, he was on notice that my ex-husband used illegal drugs. I don't, and never have. Myself and my new husband, at the time we'd been married a little over a year, the judge ordered us to be, all parties to be drug tested. My ex-husband, his living girlfriend, myself, and my new husband. So in the meantime, the kids were going to be with their father, which happened to be, based on our summer visitation, they were already scheduled to be with him during a few weeks. Well, this temporary order, I had already filed a motion for jury trial and never got a jury. And so what happened was temporary orders enjoined me from my children, put the kids with the dad, even though the court was on notice that the dad does drugs. The next hearing, that's when the judge ordered drug tests for all parties. 10 days later, the drug test came back. Of course, mine was negative. My new husband's drug test was negative. My ex-husband tested positive for marijuana in the courts. The court knew about it, and contrary to Health and Safety Code 481, put 3 minor children in the hands of 2 drug users, knowing that they were in danger, knowing that it was conflict with the law. There was never any parental unfitness. There was never any, all the nevers exist, right? Never violent, never accused of being anything. The court said, well, we're going to have a social studies psych eval, we're going to have an amicus ad litem, and what happens is the social study and the psych eval people would, in working hand in hand with the courts, delay, and the whole time they're making a profit from their shenanigans. So we had a total of 8 child custody hearings in the matter of 8 months. None of them were given to us by a jury to make any decisions at all. And one debacle after another, my kids started school. Here they had been with their father who lives in another county because of a temporary order that had expired, but that's one of the little tricks that the judges use are temporary orders, and they wind up being unending orders. Even though they're expired, the judges always operate as if they're still ongoing. And so they don't even follow their own rules of injunctions, because injunctions have to follow proper procedure based on Texas Rules of Procedure 683, 682. Proper procedures weren't followed. Due process required. This is a fundamental liberty to have your children. My 3 children were removed from my home without any finding of parental unfitness, put in knowingly harm's way. They have done absolutely nothing to give me relief. I have gone to the sheriff. I have gone to the FBI in Dallas. I have gone to the Texas Rangers. I've put everybody on notice, and they have done nothing. We had 8 child custody hearings related to temporary orders. There was never any evidence ever put on the record of any parental unfitness on my part or my new husband's part. We have a brick and mortar home. My husband and I have stable jobs, long-term employment, no family history of violence, no family history of drugs, nothing that they could point a finger to. We have a very stable Christian, very modest home, a very modest lifestyle, very conservative and on how we live our life, very peaceful. And yet they were ripped away from this kind of environment and put in harm's way. And so those temporary orders have now turned into 5 years of me being enjoined from my 3 beautiful Christian children who are raised up on the Word of God, know how to pray, know how to worship their Creator. I'm not the only one. This is happening all over the country. And my children were put in a non-Christian home with 2 drug users. And I don't want to tell you, because you may already know, if you can imagine having such a heart of love that a mother or father would have, and you pour your life into these children and you do everything right, and you love them and you nurture them and you give them peace and joy and an amazing environment to grow up in. We live out in the country on acreage where the kids can run and play and chase frogs and crickets and fish in the pond and that kind of thing. It's an amazing environment. And they were put in the city in a 2 drug user home with daddy and his living girlfriend, a non-Christian environment where there's alcohol and illegal drugs, and the courts knew about it and they're profiting from it. But the story gets more ugly and more heinous and more abusive, and I will tell that story next time. That's all I have for today.